introduction. You know, I have appreciated so much. She took me under her wing, the one wing she can still take me under, and has been giving me just such a great source of knowledge and insight, and I appreciate the opportunity to serve with Blaine. He's been so helpful, as have Todd and Sam, and it's just an honor. I know Billy and I appreciate all of their help and the honor of serving with them. And Joanne, she's even, besides taking me in her wing, she's even signed me up for a Congressional Women's Softball team. And I'm an old Archie basketball player and track person. I'm not very much into softball, so I want to know more about this. And she said, well, it's a one game in July, and it's for charity. I'm still like, I don't know. She goes, oh, come on, it's against the Washington media. And I said, hey, if it's against the liberal Washington media, I'm there, count me in. So we're getting geared up. We're ready, so that'll be fun, so I appreciate that. You know, I want to thank each and every one of you in this room for your support last year in the election. You know, we did something that now people are telling me they thought was impossible. They didn't tell it then. People were going, oh, I didn't believe it, you really did it. And I said, no, we did it. The people of the 4th District did it. You know, I've said all along, I like Ike, I just didn't like his votes with Nancy Pelosi. And our district, we are not Nancy Pelosi here. And so it was time. We did what we did and what we do best in the 4th District. We rolled up our sleeves and we went to work and we prayed and we went and talked to our neighbors. And then on election day, we stood up and we changed things. And our kind of quasi-motto was fire Pelosi, and we did. So thank you, every one of you, for helping with that. It is such a privilege and an honor to be there representing all of you, all Missouri good values in our nation's capital. But we really had a good year as Republicans, and it was just so exciting to be a part of last year's election. You know, I want to thank all of you for all that you did to send as many good Republicans to the state capitol as you did. That is just historic. I was there this week, and I'm just so proud to see all of the good work that our senators and our representatives are doing, and Republicans. It's a new day there from when I was there and when Roy was there. I know Kathy's been there, and it's just great. And aren't we glad to have a new state auditor who's going to get rid of waste, fraud, and abuse in our state government? I heard your speech enough, Tom. I can even say that line, but it's so great. And people are so excited about that. And isn't it fun to be able to say, Senator Roy Blunt, isn't that great? Missouri is on the move, and we have just begun. And what a difference a year makes. I know we don't want to do it, but I want to take you back just a little bit. For a year ago, it was kind of like a bad dream, you know. But just a reminder to show you how far we've come. Last year at this time in Washington, the House of Representatives was being led by Nancy Pelosi, and the Congress was spending money every week. They were in session, totaling, just in the first 4 weeks, they spent $682 billion. They ignored the Constitution. They shoved Obamacare down the throats of Americans. They were strangling businesses through all their job-killing regulations and the bills they were putting forth. They took over companies and put us further in debt. But the people of Missouri and across this nation spoke, and they sent a new group of kids to town. And things are different now because of you. So thank you for that. We are farmers, the new freshman class. We are teachers. There's several doctors in the group. There's some nurses, a lot of people who served in the uniform for our country. And all of us, though, are just ordinary people. We're moms and dads and sons and daughters who just say, quit mortgaging our children's future. We've got to stand up and change course. And we did. We're just... So, this year, just to show you the difference, our house, of course, is being led by John Boehner. And we have cut spending every week that we were there. The first 4 weeks, we saved taxpayers over $652 billion. We banned earmarks. We've respected the Constitution. We read it on the House floor for all to see and hear. We repealed Obamacare, held hearings on job-killing government regulations, stood up for American jobs, and reduced the nation's debt by over $2.7 trillion, and we're just getting started. But it's time. We have got to change course. It is pretty disastrous. You know, I knew things were bad in the campaign. We talked about it, read about it. But now that I'm there and I've got to sit in on some further hearings and sessions with some national economists and things, I have to tell you it's worse than I thought. And you've probably heard different speakers have alluded to it this weekend. But not only do we have a $14 trillion debt right now that's growing every day, but it took 220 years from the time of the presidency of George Washington up until Bill Clinton to accumulate as much debt as the Obama administration and Pelosi and Reid have accumulated in 4 years. It was just astronomical. 40 cents out of every dollar we spend in government is borrowed. And as Todd alluded to in the last town hall meeting, if you were there, this is the number, the graph that got me. To find out that all the money that we send to Washington, D.C. on April 15th, the entire tax bill of every American, every corporation, all the money we send there is spent every year with just Medicare, Medicaid, the interest on our debt, and Social Security. And it's gone. So everything in government that you and I can think of as the federal government, the highway system, national defense, Department of Education, all those things, whether you like them or not, typical things, is being run with borrowed money. So if we went up there, we're willing to cut, and we were able to mothball all of Washington, D.C. Let's just close everything, send everybody home. Let's put mothball. Why not? But that wouldn't be enough to get us. We'd still be spending money we don't have. We still have to borrow. There's not enough money, so we've got a big job. In fact, we've got a mess. And I was thinking about that last night. You know that picture. Of course, I'm being a farmer. Remember the man and woman? That picture of the farmer, and they're not smiling, but they got a pitchfork. You know, and they got what's that called? American Gothic or something. I did take art appreciation in college. Hey, I just want you to know. But anyway, I thought, you know, I ought to. If somebody take my picture, I think it'd be me. I'm holding a mop or a broom. And someday people said, you know, when I leave, if I have a legacy, it's Vicky went and she cleaned up the mess in Washington. And I thought, that'd be all right. So we're going to clean it up. And the first thing we're doing, Joanne alluded to, is that we are going to cut spending. And we have. And last week we just got started, but it was kind of fun. People are saying, so how do you like your new job? Is it fun? I said, last week was fun. The first 3 weeks were just warming up. Last week was fun because we were able to do what the American people want us to do. Washington has been spending, you know, more money than it has, you know, deficit spending. So it's like when I was a teacher and took home a pay of $2,000 a month and then budgeting and spending $3,000 a month. Third deficit spending. That's what the government keeps doing. And so we said we got to reverse course. Our first opportunity was this continuing resolution. And as has been explained, the reason we have to deal with that is because of the dereliction of duty of last year's Congress when they failed to pass a budget for this year. Never had been done before. They had control of the House, they had control of the Senate and the White House, and they couldn't pass a budget? Ridiculous. Yet they had time to do everything else that was onerous to businesses and families and taxpayers. But anyway, so they just funded government through the lame duck session. They passed a continuing resolution funding government to continue at 2010 spending levels through March 4th, which is next Friday. And so money, government is still functioning, Social Security checks are still going out, veterans are still getting paid, the military, etc. But as of next Friday, we've got to decide how much we're going to spend for the rest of this year, from here till the end of the fiscal year, the end of September. And so they kind of put it in our laps, and so we got out our mops and our brooms, and we're starting to clean up their mess. And so what we said is, yeah, we're going to fund it, but we're going to cut. We're going to reverse course. Instead of going up, we're going to start going down. And that's where we had the, I think when we got done, it was actually 100 hours of debate. I don't know, this poor woman couldn't, you know, She was fuzzy by the time we were done. We walked off the floor at 4:45 in the morning a week ago Saturday, and I never stayed up that late, so even in college. So it was amazing. But by the time we got done, we had done the people's work. We saved $100 billion. We terminated 149 federal programs. We eliminated funding for such very, very vital programs, such as the needle exchange program for the drug addicts in New York City. Yeah, we thought they could do with that a little bit. We returned unobligated stimulus funds back to the taxpayer. We cut the salaries of President Obama's czars, so they don't have any money. We defunded the EPA's overreach so they couldn't regulate greenhouse gas. We defunded Obamacare, and there's more. I could go on and on, 500 amendments more. But we also eliminated taxpayer funding for Planned Parenthood, so you and I pay for abortion. And I tell you, that was my highlight so far, being in Congress, was having the privilege of being able to speak on the House floor on behalf of that amendment and share some of my experiences from when I was a teacher and some of the young women I worked with, and some of their awful experiences they had with Planned Parenthood, and to share with them that, to validate that Planned Parenthood doesn't care about young women, they're all about profit, and it's time we defund them, take their money back. The second mess we've got to clean up, and we're committed to doing, is creating jobs. You know, we've been hovering for over 21 months, consecutive months, at between 9 and 10% unemployment. In the 4th District, a lot of my counties are a lot higher than that. Some of you are from, you know that. That is the highest rate of unemployment since the Great Depression. And so you have a president and administration on the one hand who's been saying we want more jobs, but yet everything they're doing is killing jobs. So what we're doing is reversing course of that. We know that we have to create stable economic environment, some certainty, so that entrepreneurs and people with capital will feel confident in investing their money. Because as of January 1st, they didn't know what the tax bill was going to be. They didn't know what the energy cost was going to be. They didn't know if government was going to come in and regulate them to death or take them over or what. So we've got to create that stability. And one thing we're going to do, and we're going to do, is kill anything. There's not going to be any more cap and trade, let me tell you. It's not going to take a lot of that. We're also going to get the bureaucracies and the rules and regulations off the backs of businesses. And so every committee in the House has been charged with the job of oversight, and we're bringing in those government agencies before our committees, and we're asking them the hard questions. And it's kind of fun. They've been kind of on their own, running wild here, whether it's the EPA or the OSHA or whatever agency it is, some alphabet soup. I'm still trying to figure them all out. By the way, is there ever a key to all that? ABC, anyway, there's a lot. There isn't, so it's a secret code. But I just say if you come in with an ABC or some alphabet, I don't trust you. Anyway, that's all I know. But anyway, we're asking the questions. Why are you doing this? Is this in the Constitution? Is this what the law said? Who gives you the authority to do that? And are you going to listen to the people during your rulemaking process? And what are you going to do if all the public input says this is onerous, this is bad? Are you willing to withdraw the rules? So we're going to keep that up. So we're going to try to clean that up, create jobs, get them back where they belong. The third thing we're going to do is do our jobs. Unlike some lawmakers in Wisconsin who left, we're going to stay on the job even if it's very little hours sleep. And there's such a contrast. Isn't that ridiculous? Yeah. So, oh my goodness. I'm of course, former teacher, and that just really gets me. The idea that you would use children in order to selfishly advance your own cause is so wrong, and I just want to say to them, although they're not here, but I'll say it anyway, get back in the classroom and teach the kids. Do your job. That felt good. They weren't here, but I feel better now. Thank you. But we're going to do our jobs in Washington, D.C., and we're going to stick to it. And then the last thing, not the last, but one of the things we're going to do is we're going to continue to fight for the family. The basic values that made our country great. This week, our president, shockingly, told everyone, he instructed his Justice Department to not defend the law of the land, which is to protect marriage between a man and a woman. And he had the gall to say it's unconstitutional in his opinion, so he's not going to defend it as it goes through the courts. So this is the Defense of Marriage Act that Congress passed back with President Clinton, actually, in a Republican Congress. But it passed after the Massachusetts court decision, where you have a few men in robes that sat on a bench, and they decided that they had more wisdom and insight, and they knew better what the definition of marriage should be for the people of Massachusetts, and imposed on them a new definition, throwing out over 5,000 years of tried and true, what we consider wise policy. And that's why Missouri took the steps, Missouri legislature, to put forth before the people of this state the opportunity to have a say in what the definition is, so we don't leave it up to some court somewhere. And I had the opportunity to have to be the spokesperson for the statewide campaign, and I know all of you were involved as well. But we stood up as a state that year, 2004, and we said, we think it's wise public policy to have marriage between a man and a woman. We're not going to let some court come in and tell us what to do, and we passed it by 71%. States have done likewise. Whenever the people have had an opportunity to vote on it, they have stood up and said, this is smart, this is what we want to do. But after the Massachusetts court decision, Congress passed this Defense of Marriage Act, which basically says one state, you don't have to recognize the definition of marriage from another state. And that's what they want, President Obama wants thrown out. What that will do effectively as it moves through the court systems is that this could be the Roe versus Wade of our generation. Because if the Supreme Court throws out that law, there's several states that do have same-sex marriage, and it will be the law of the land across this country. Things will not be like we have known it for our children and grandchildren. And our president has said he's not going to defend that. So I instructed my staff to immediately start looking into that and see what we can do. And I know Speaker John Boehner is looking into it as well. There's a good chance that the Congress can intervene in lieu of the president. And if that takes place, make sure I'm going to be there. And I know many of our Missouri delegation will be there fighting for the family because it's the right thing to do. The last thing we're going to continue to do is to carry on the legacy of Lincoln. Today is Lincoln Days, and we always do hold events in his honor. And it's good to stop and think about why we do that. It's good to look back as we move forward. I had the opportunity last week to do that for just a few minutes during our debate. Like I said, a lot of long hours, and it was past midnight one night. I don't remember which night it was. But I decided to stretch my legs a little bit, and I left the House chamber, and I still haven't got a tour of the Capitol yet. I'm still fighting my way around, but that's okay. But right outside the House chamber, you don't have to walk very far at all, and you're in a section of the Capitol called the Statuary Hall. How many of you have been there? Oh, look at this. Look at these patriots. Would you give me a tour? You come up and meet you, okay? But anyway, Statuary Hall, and then if you keep going through that, you'll get to the main rotunda. But the Statuary Hall used to be where the House of Representatives met for over 50 years in the 1800s before they built on the new wing where we are now. And it's called that because it has all these statues of great men and women of our country and who've made a difference. And it looks like a mini rotunda. It's got the dome and the little cupola and all that. But I walked in there and just started looking around, and it was really special because there was no one there. There wasn't any tour groups going through, the media wasn't there. Usually it's just very hectic, and there wasn't any security guards around. It was just me in the room, and it was quiet. And it was the first time in, I guess, 5 weeks I've been there, I'd actually had time to think, because it's been so hectic. And so I just took a minute and kind of looked at the statues and thought about the men and women who represented there. What did they do? Why are they in a statue? But the thing I was especially interested in is on the floor, because there's a tile floor in there, but they have brass plates in the floor where different U.S. representatives sat who later went on to become president. So I kind of walked around and I saw names we'd recognize, John Quincy Adams and Millard Fillmore and James Buchanan, but I was looking for one in particular. And I couldn't find it, and I thought it was there, and then I saw another plate over near the wall. And so I went over there, and sure enough, there it was. The plate said, Abraham Lincoln, U.S. Representative, Illinois. And it was just neat to just stand there for a few seconds and to think, first of all, to realize he was real. Sometimes we hear about him in books and stuff. He was a real man, just like us. Live on a farm, but I appreciate his real background. I didn't have a log cabin, but he made a difference. And he sat right there, and he got up to give his speeches and vote, and he'd stand right where I was standing. I thought, why did he make such a difference? Why do we have days and celebrations in his honor and national holidays? It wasn't because necessarily he always succeeded. Because as I've read, you've probably read many times, he failed in life. He ran for the legislature, and he lost, and he ran for the Senate, and he lost over and over. But it's because he stood for the things that you and I believe in now. He believed in the free enterprise system. He believed in freedom. He believed in opportunity for everyone. He didn't give up. He didn't give up. And he kept going. He believed in opportunity. He believed in life, he believed in prayer, and those are the things that we believe in. And because of his efforts, because of his tenacious spirit, and keeping his eye on those things, he went ahead and saved our country. And he stood firm on the principles that he believed in, and he wouldn't allow others to sway him or deter him from that. That's why we celebrate him, and that's why we can look to him now at this time in history, and we can gain inspiration and encouragement as we face challenges in our own country. But we have the ideals and the values that our country needs right now. And we are going to continue to stand firm on those things. We are united. We're going to stand firm. We're going to make the tough decisions. And we're going to be committed to saving our country for our children and our grandchildren, just like he was. So we go forth united and with prayer, and we're going to continue to do the right things this year. And we're not going to stop until next year. We advance and take over the Senate and the White House. And then So I think in closing, if Lincoln were here today, he would give us a quote, and I wanted to share it with you. And we're all familiar with it. It says, "With malice toward none," we're not a mean party. We really aren't. "With malice toward none, with charity for all, with firmness in the right, as God gives us to see the right, let us strive on to finish the work we're in, to bind up our nation's wounds." And I would just say, we can do it. We've done it in the past. We can do it again. We'll do it together. Thank you. God bless you.